Good day. Good day, and welcome to Mental Health and You. I'm your host, Cynthia Timms. Wow. Can we just talk tonight? I feel compelled to have a conversation with you and me. I've been struggling with something lately, dealing with a lot of things lately, particularly when it comes to hope. Hope, not just a four-letter word, but hope as a breathing and living manifestation of life. So, can we have a conversation tonight, if you don't mind? Just you and I, because I want to know how you feel about hope. What it is to you? What does it mean? How have you sustained your hope in the midst of so much this year, in the age of COVID, in the midst of so much pain and suffering? I guess what I'm asking, where do you find your hope? Where is hope? What does it mean to you? Wow. So let's start. This is just you and I, an intimate one-on-one discussion on hope. Hope. Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop in South Africa, said, I want to get this right. Hope is being able to see that there is light despite the darkness. Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness. What does that mean to you? What type of darkness have you faced in your life? What type of despair have you faced? I think I've shared with you that I am a peer support specialist. That is someone with a history of mental challenges, now trained to give hope to others. Hope and peer support is the catalyst of recovery. But I often ask myself, what am I recovering from? What do you get? I say to myself. Because I'm a work in progress from all the miseries of this world. Depression, despair, heartache, pain, physical as well as emotional. So despite of all of that, here I am tonight doing this show. I got this platform. So isn't that hope? I could just say, forget about it. I don't feel like doing this tonight. I don't feel like getting out of bed. I don't feel like going to work. I don't feel like being on this show. I don't feel like talking to you or anybody else. But I don't want to. Because despite everything, I've seen the wondrous miracles of joy and hope in practice. Hope gives you a type of joy. Hope gives you a peace. Where do you find it? I've talked on this show for the past couple years about places where I find it. On the calming waters of the Long Island Sound, the Westchester Bay. I like to feel the breezes on my hand, on my face. For me, that's hope. That's life. I like to look at the clouds I like to look out into the horizon, which is the sun. That's hope. What's hope for you? Where is that special place you go to where you need when you need to re-energize yourself, renew yourself, when you need to find some light, when life is just giving you so much that you just can't take it sometimes, but you've seen better days. You hope for better days. As I said at the beginning of this show, hope, not just a four-letter word, but a living and breathing manifestation in the wake of everything. Can we talk? Just you and I having an intimate conversation. I want to thank you so much for being a part of Mental Health in You. Past 2 years have been a joy, has been hopeful. Being here on this platform, being able to talk about and discuss with my many guests about what helps them in the midst of pain, what helps them in the midst of despair. I've had poets on, wonderful words of liberation, wonderful words to just soothe the soul and to calm your nerves at the end of a long day. I've had photographers on, telling a story with images, telling a story with words as in poetry, telling a story that soothes the mind and calms the soul. What soothes your mind? What calms your soul? Y'all, this has been a hell of a ride the past 2 years or so. A wonderful ride. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful to you for allowing me to come into your home every month and share, encourage, advocate, educate. It seems to me that we need each other. We're part of the ties that bind. We're our peer support. And that's what peer support is about. We're sharing stories. We are a village. We're helping each other. We're encouraging each other. Y'all, I know it hasn't been easy, but I do believe it's necessary. I do believe that in spite of everything, there's just a wondrous thing going on, a wondrous experiment in humanity still going on. So what gives me hope? When I see goodness, when I see us helping each other, us picking up each other, us encouraging each other. Lift as you climb. That was the motto for the League of the women voters, the national women voters, the Black women voters. Lift as you climb. I'm going to get this right. The National Council for Negro Women. Lifting as you climb. There you go. What does that mean? That means as we go, as we elevate, as we go, as we start to feel better, as we start to move up, feel better about ourselves, that we won't not forget those who are behind us. whose shoulders we stand on, who's standing on our shoulders. Whose shoulders do you stand on? When you think about what brought you here and what has kept you here, whose shoulders have you been standing on? What and who are you grateful to? An attitude of gratitude. I once heard Maya Angelou say, who are you grateful to? What are you grateful to? What brings you hope? What makes you smile? What brings you a certain comfort? It's just you and I. We're just having a conversation because I feel compelled to have this conversation tonight. You know, my last show, one of my more recent shows was white supremacy and mental health. And we talked about white supremacy and mental health as being connected, how it makes you feel, how white supremacy can sort of bring you down, make you feel like you're a second-class citizen. But you're not a second-class citizen. There's nothing second-class about you. Okay? So as we take a break for a pause for the cause, think about what brings you hope, what makes you happy, what brings you joy. Let's talk about it. One moment. After these messages.
With coronavirus still spreading, people at higher risk must take extra precautions. You're at higher risk if you are over 65 or if you have any serious underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, diabetes, or if your immune system is compromised for any reason. If you're at higher risk, wash your hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds. Avoid touching your face. Disinfect frequently touched objects. And wash up after being in public spaces. And when it comes to social situations, less is better. Stay 6 feet or 2 arm lengths away from other people. Better still, stay home if you can. If you're sick, please stay home and away from others. And if you think you've been exposed to the virus, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. In challenging times, the choices you make are critical. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
Welcome. Welcome back to Mental Health and You. I'm Cynthia Timms, your host, and I want to thank you so much for being part of this great and wondrous experiment in hope. Now, before we went to break, we were talking about hope. I was asking you, what brings you hope? What brings you happiness? Where do you find your comfort? Wow. I was looking at something just recently. I was reading a passage from scripture. From Hebrews, says hope anchors the soul. Hope anchors the soul from Hebrews. Old Testament. What do you feel about that? And when you think about an anchor, what are you thinking about? Something that holds you down, but in a good way. It's not it's not like a trap or anything. It's not like handcuffs. It's hope anchors the soul. How has hope anchored your soul? How has hope changed your life? How has hope played a part in your everyday living? I can tell that I am a testament and a testimony that it has definitely played a part in my life. Sometimes when I think about from which I came from, just a few years ago, when I was in the depths of depression, and I wondered each day, my God, how I was going to keep going. When I was dealing with a grief that was so overwhelming, when I was dealing with a loneliness that just tore me apart, I wondered, I would have never thought that I would be here with you all these years later. That what keeps me hopeful. That is what anchors my soul. I talked about the boat. I talked about finding hope on a boat. I talked about finding hope in the midst of a wonderful breeze, in the midst of a wonderful wave, feeling it on my face, feeling it on my hands, letting it seep into my soul, letting it seep into my into being. That's where I find hope, but also find it in poetry. Long before I got into this broadcasting thing, I was a poet. I was a poet and didn't even know it sometimes. I used to do poetry in church, Easter Sunday, Christmas. Wow. I used to get up there with my Sunday best. I used to get up there with my school clothes, with my Christmas clothes. And boy, did I have a story to tell. And when the audience clapped, it made me feel good. It made me hopeful. So going forward, I started doing poetry other places, whether it was in school, other church venues. Um, I started writing poetry more, took classes. Then I hit the stage. I found places like the New Rican Poets Cafe, St. Mark's, all in the village, different libraries, gaining an audience. And that gave me hope. Also made me extremely happy because I felt for the first time I had a voice. When you know that you have a voice, when you know that you have a platform for good, that perhaps you're reaching somebody who maybe was looking to hear what you had to say, wow, that's a wonderful feeling. So I had the poetry. Then as time went on, I got into photography. I'd always been a fan of the visual image as well as the written word. So I guess for me, it was a natural progression. With my little camera, before I got a big professional camera, I used to go out and shoot black and white, color. I used to shoot parties. I used to shoot events, parades. I joined a civil rights organization, became a founding member of this photo club, the National Action Network. And I used to go out and I shot and I documented some of the leading civil rights and human rights events of the day. In that camera, I found hope and purpose. Hope gives you a purpose. Hope gives you a purpose, gives you a reason. I couldn't wait to pick up my camera. I couldn't wait to pick up my pen because it gave me purpose, gave me a reason to keep going when times I didn't feel like it. Wow. So again, I ask, what is hope? What gives you purpose? What gives you a reason in the age of COVID, in the age of Corona, in the age of despair, when you see so much around you, people trying to hold you down? What gives you hope? What gives you a reason? What gives you purpose? So here I am, all these many years later, talking to you, hosting this show, producing this show with the help of BronxNet, who I'm so grateful for giving me this platform. You know, when I thought about this show, I'm like, what do I talk about? In the beginning. But I knew somehow that I had a story. I had a song. And this was my platform to tell it, to sing it, to express it, in the hopes of encouraging somebody, of advocating for somebody, in the hopes of educating somebody. We are great people. We're smart, talented, strong. You are great. That's something I have to remind myself when I see the darkness, when I see the clouds, because that's going to come. You're going to have clouds, even in the midst of hopeful situations. You're going to have your critics, even in the midst of darkness. It's all a test. It's all part of the great experience of life and living and learning. Oh, I'm so grateful tonight. I'm so hopeful because I got a chance to talk to you and talk with you. Some peer support, if you will. I want to empathize with you, as we say in peer support. I want to validate you. I want you to know that you're special. You're a gift from God. There's no one else like you. So where you're going to find your hope, where you're going to find your purpose. It doesn't have to be in big things, and the skies don't have to open up. You don't have to part the sea. But I've learned that hope can be an experience in the little things. The things maybe that you don't even think about. Maybe they're not so little. I woke up this morning. I got food to eat. I got clothes on my back. I have my health. reasonably so. I still get opportunities and possibilities. I'm hopeful. Hope anchors the soul. I once heard a preacher preach the sermon that a hope that won't quit. Sometimes I got to tell myself that. Sometimes I got to remind myself of that. That hope doesn't quit. You're on this earth for a purpose. You're on this earth for a reason. Okay? You may not have a show. You may not do poetry. You may not be a photographer. Yeah, but you're something. You mean something to somebody. You're special to someone. You've made an impact on somebody's life, whether you recognize it or realize it. Sometimes when I get into my funk, I got to remind myself of that. What impact am I having on others? We're just doing some hopeful thinking today. We're just doing some peer support. This is what we do. We empathize, we validate, and we discuss. So, in this minute that's left, I want to thank you again for being part of Mental Health and You. So, take care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually. Take a walk. Talk to nature. It's all around you. And again and again and again, I wish you, as always, peace and light, peace and blessings. Thank you for Mental Health and You. See you next time. Let's have hope.
Do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.